Greetings. This is the apartment Steading update, going into its second year. I haven't done a lot here, but nature has. And this all used to be mowed, and I made like a little line so this doesn't get mowed anymore, just on the other side of the string does. And the guys used to come all up in here and weed whack too. So I'm just coming from the perspective of just like what happens if we just let it grow and observe what nature does. So just a quick side note, I've observed that when you cut down a forest, or like when you cut down a large patch of trees, what will grow is grass. But if you don't maintain grass, then a forest is what will grow. So I haven't planted this. This is just from seed that dropped. But this is a cottonwood tree, and it's from that one right there. It drops its cotton-like seeds. This actually might be a poplar, but either way, there is this just grew here last season from seed that was just in the ground, or it blew in from nature. There's a little frost damage. And there's also a whole bunch of dandelions in here, as you can see. And this is nutrient dense food for you or your animals. And there's a whole bunch, and they all just went to seed again, so next year there will be a whole bunch more. And this one right here is called Meadow Buttercup, and there was only one right here last year, because this is where I kind of started letting stuff grow last year. This grew up all the way and went to seed, and now, oh, see, this one's almost putting out its little buttercup, but now look how many more there are. I don't know if there's any medicinal properties of that, but I'm also guessing it has a tap root, just like a deep tap root, just like the dandelions. This is either some primrose or goldenrod. So you get the theme here. Just went on a little bit of a tangent, but what I was saying was that if you cut down a forest, a lawn will grow, and if you don't cut a lawn, then a forest will grow. And it's cool to see that. So it's also cool to see all the wild, like that's a native wildflower, so let it put out its flower and let the pollinators get what they can from it. This is also deeply shaded, so nothing really, this is facing west, south, and east, so I get a little bit of sun when it rises, and then when it sets to the west, I get a little filtered sun. So altogether, there's probably like 3 hours of sun back here. Like, if that makes any sense altogether. See how it's kind of like there's some sun, so coming right through, but there's on that black raspberry. So now I guess we can get into what I did plant. First, real quick, this is a red clover. I did not plant that. Nitrogen fixer, looking really good. And I've tried growing stuff here last year, or I did all the elderberry cuttings, and I stuck them in the ground, harvested them in the fall, and it was really, my first time getting into this kind of stuff, so I didn't really observe too well that this was, deeply shaded. And I tried to cut back this buckthorn and then because it was pretty much dead, but when I cut it out, when I cut down, there was a whole bunch of dead growth on here. And when I cut all that back, then it resprouted with all of that. So now that I'm learning, yeah, I don't know, it's just cool. Like when I did that, now I know that you can actually cut this here intentionally if you want it to sprout out from here, and then it'll cast more shade like that. I believe this is the Virginia creeper, and this is a native line. It's down here as well. I learned that one last year. But anyways, so nothing really wants to grow in here. It's like too much shade. Although there is a Jerusalem artichoke that sprouted from when I stored them here, and there is a potato that sprouted. That is the only thing that is kind of grown here, is potatoes. And then right here is just a compost pile, been piling the eggshells and all the food scraps all winter time, and then combining them with leaves. And there was just some grass grown up right here, so I decided, let me get some green in with the brown and make it even, so make for a better breakdown process. So what I did plant is these elderberry cuttings. Right here is I know there's no sun right now, but I had observed that was the sunniest spot. The sun hits it earlier in the day, and so it's funny to see, or it's cool to see, that this cutting right where I put it is doing the best. And then there's a whole bunch more right here. And then so my next theory was all of these raspberries, blackberries, and black raspberries that I did not get a harvest off of last year. I did on these black raspberries, but I didn't on the raspberries or blackberries. So she said there was raspberries, blackberries, black raspberries. So hopefully I get to try the raspberries and the blackberries this year. And the black raspberries are ready to put out their fruit anytime soon. This is white raspberry that I propagated over there last year, and I'm gonna move it up to the garden. So like I was saying, my next theory was, if all of these did good right here, nothing good was growing right here. So you come a little bit out from the edge of the tree's canopy, and this stuff grew well. Because I had tried black raspberries in there too, and they weren't doing too good. See, it's getting that nice filtered sun. So I said, let me stick elderberry cuttings in every center where there was a raspberry or blackberry plant, and that seems, can't find any other ones. I guess it was really only that one that survived. But I just saw something in here. This didn't sprout last year. But this is a, you do not want to touch that. That little, I don't know, I thought that was the ooze, but that's just white. But that is a poisonous parsnip. I'm pretty sure it is some kind of, pretty sure, yeah, that's poisonous parsnip. But trying to see the leaf. Oh yeah, it's sprouting out over here. I don't know what that is actually. It's not poisonous parsnip, but it doesn't look like it's good. And that didn't come up last year either. But the fern was in from when the lady dug up the plant for me. Anyways, all of these are maple, from the maple trees. And these aren't your average maple tree. These are actually Norway maples. They're invasive, or also non-native. I know invasive is non-native, but not everything that's invasive is non-native, because there is things that are native that have invasive tendencies. Anyways, it has five points on the leaves, and other, like, sugar maples have 3, or just so. Yeah, sorry, just losing my train of thought here. Put in a grape cutting from right over here. There's a grape that I trimmed this year, and there's a whole bunch of fruit set on it, so looking forward to that. But at the same time, I was like, you know, these are a whole bunch of trees, and it's not like they're banned or anything. Like, people plant these as like an ornamental tree because they put on like the nice yellow leaves, and you can still get the syrup from them. So it's like they're here already, whether if I let this happen or not. But like, this would have got mowed or weed whacked, so you know, now these can be a whole bunch of 1-year trees at the end of the season, and I think that's pretty cool. And there's some violet tucked in there, and there's also some creeping thyme that I had put in here. It smells really good. So I was thinking, if nothing did good here, I moved it out to here, and stuff did good. So what happened if I moved it out to here? Well, it seems like all the buds on the cuttings died, but the cuttings seem to be rooted. So just because they were outside of the canopy, their buds probably got hit by the frost more. But so I didn't want to take them out. I'm just gonna leave them and observe them. And then right there is the Jerusalem artichoke, and I put a few there, like in some patches of grass that were missing. So it was just kind of bare ground like that. I put a few Jerusalem artichoke tubers in, and they sprouted. So, oh, here's an elder that did good. But yeah, see, these ones, they did all die. But there was one that I tried to, probably was too wet. There was one that I tried to pull out, but it seemed like it was too stuck in there. But maybe I just did not. Oh yeah, see that one. That one seems like it's rooted. That one's not. And that one is not. So yeah, failures. But the main key of all this is just observation and just figuring out what grows good in shade, seeing what nature just does on its own. So then what it was like if you wanted to find a way to grow what you wanted to grow. There's all this sun out here, and right up along this stick where I'm walking is where the garbage man walks to get the garbage. But there's all this sun right here, so why not use it? And I stuck some elderberry cuttings over here, and some Jerusalem artichoke tubers, the ones that I propagated over there, just they grew up, and then I moved them over here. Elder, Jerusalem, elder. This is called Creeping Charlie. It's in the mid family. It smells good. And then yeah, so obviously I won't use those for their fruit, but if they grow up, I will propagate them and move them to a cleaner spot, and then once they grow, and then detox from this kind of icky area. The Jerusalem artichokes are probably, I don't know, we'll figure it out, but those will just be here indefinitely now. So yeah, those are my observations. Kind of a long one, kind of some rambling parts, but this is what's going on, you know. Even though it doesn't look like a lot, it is a lot. So I would encourage anybody to just make observations in nature before you try to put your input, and see what nature is trying to do, and maybe copy that. So one love, homeless. See you on the next one.